Alright, so you're here to find out if you should go see Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. Well, based on the title and my reaction right now, the answer is yes. Yes, you should go see this movie. And let me get it right out of the way. I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 5. It is the fourth 5 I've given out this year, and man, oh man, does it earn it. So go see the movie. Go ahead. Go now. I don't have to say anything else. Just go see it. Come back and just go enjoy it. But if you're somebody who needs a little bit more convincing, if just my word is not enough, let's talk about the movie. I just got to see Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, a brand new film starring Anya Taylor-Joy, which takes place before 2015's Mad Max Fury Road. Now, of course, Mad Max Fury Road is one of the greatest films ever created. It is just commonly accepted that that is truth, that Mad Max Fury Road is an odyssey in its own right. It is a film that should not exist, but somehow does exist. It is a creation of George Miller that is just so spectacular in its practicality and its makeup that it just turns out that it just aged like fine wine, and still today, almost 10 years later, is one of the greatest things ever. Now, we have been waiting a long time for this film, because Furiosa was announced about right after the release of Mad Max Fury Road, that this would be the eventual follow-up, a prequel to Mad Max, not starring Charlize Theron, but starring somebody else who would eventually be Anya Taylor-Joy. And it would be a prequel telling the story of Furiosa, the character from Mad Max Fury Road, trying to get back to the Green Place. And we waited years, and years, and years, and years, and this movie was stuck in development hell forever. But finally, 9 years later, we have it. We have the follow-up to Fury Road. And yes, this movie, as I've been saying, is an absolute masterpiece. Now, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, starring Anya Taylor-Joy, tells the story of Furiosa all before Mad Max Fury Road. And when I say all before, I mean literally everything. We see from the moment that she left the Green Place to the moment Mad Max Fury Road starts. We see everything that happened beforehand, so we not only get her origin story, but we also kind of get the origin of everything that was going on in Fury Road. If you watched Fury Road and you're a little bit confused, how did this all get this way? How did Immortal Joe, what is going on with this group? What's going on in the world kind of around them? If that's something that was interesting you in Mad Max Fury Road and maybe you didn't get the satisfying answers you want, this film delivers all that. It also delivers the answers of who the hell is Furiosa. And my god, is she an interesting character. This film is absolutely epic. It takes place over the course of 5 chapters that outline pretty much her entire life up to Mad Max Fury Road. We see her as a young girl, being swept away from her homeworld and swept into the conflicts of this movie. As a young girl, we see a younger actress playing her that's not Anya Taylor-Joy, who does an amazing job playing this character. But here's where we get to see this young version of the character meet Chris Hemsworth's character in this film, the villain of the movie. Dementus, this kind of evil bike-riding gang leader who's super charismatic and super goofy and just absolutely amazing. Now, this movie had a very tough task, because in Mad Max Fury Road, you had a great villain in Immortal Joe, and he was kind of this unbeatable, unbreakable villain. So how do you introduce a villain in a prequel that can actually live up to that, in a group that can live up to that threat? Well, what you do is you bring back Immortal Joe, and you have him conflict with Chris Hemsworth's character here. And you make it so their conflict is kind of even, and it puts Furiosa sort of in the middle of it in this movie, and it gave so much credence to this character that Chris Hemsworth is portraying. Another thing you do is you fucking cast Chris Hemsworth here. Chris Hemsworth is so unbelievably good in this movie. This is the best thing he's done in his entire career, and it is fantastic. You have to see it to believe it. He does great work here, some work that is absolutely hilarious. He has some lines in this movie that are just so funny, but even when he has to turn a notch and go into more serious stuff, more dramatic scenes, specifically in the third act of this movie, he hits it out of the damn ballpark. He is the carrier of this movie, especially because this is a movie in which Furiosa does not talk a lot. She is not a big vocal character, so Chris Hemsworth his character is very vocal in this film, and he is great. He's threatening, he's scary, but you just also can't help but love every second he's on screen. And Anya Taylor-Joy sells the physicality of Furiosa. Is she as good as Charlize Theron? I don't know. That's a hard comparison to make, but she is as good as you could expect playing this younger version of this character. She's gritty, she's brutal, she is strong, she sells everything she needed to sell, and she does a great job. And when she does speak, god damn it, her voice is awesome. In this character, she's angry, she's strong. I'm Furiosa! Oh, it's brilliant. But what about the action scenes? What about the epicness? Because that's what Fury Road is, right? It's like 2.5 hours of just epic set pieces. Now, this movie is a little bit less than Fury Road when it comes to that department. This isn't one long chase through the Fury Road, through, the Mad Max desert. No. It is not that. This is an epic, sprawling movie that tries to tell a story in different time periods, which is why you don't get as many large set-piece action scenes in this movie. But there are still a fuck ton. There are a few smaller ones that are clearly just kind of more intimate type action scenes that work extremely well. And then there are a few extremely large set piece scenes that I can imagine took so long to film. And they are amazing and creative and beautiful. And when they are practical, which Fury Road is mostly practical, they're amazing. When they're CGI, the CGI actually looks pretty good for most of the movie. I wish most of it was practical. I think it's the only reason this movie lags behind Fury Road is because it is not anywhere near as practical as that film is, but at the same time, the CGI looks great. My only complaint about the action scenes is the third act. I was kind of expecting the film to build up into one more large set piece, and it doesn't really do that. I mean, I guess you can consider what they do a large set piece, but I felt like the biggest scenes, the biggest pieces of action happened in the middle of the movie, and then the third act was more of a character sort of moment, a character study of a third act, which is still great, but man, I kind of was hoping for another big event in that final moment of the film. But this film is absolutely stunning. Everything looks great here. The cinematography is beautiful. There are multiple shots in this movie that are unbelievable. There's a beautiful shot where Chris Hemsworth's gang is attacking this truck, and you see the truck in the distance going across the wasteland. You see the bikes surround it, and as it crosses, we follow it, and then Chris Hemsworth, we find him in the frame just watching the battlefield from like a rock miles away, and it's just such a beautiful shot, and there's so many great things like that in this movie. It would be very easy to just not pay that much attention to the cinematography in between the big action beats, but God, they pay so much attention to it, and it is creative and as good as it gets. The music in this movie, I will say, I did not notice the music in this movie. Like Mad Max Fury Road, you notice the music. It's big, it's punchy, it's got that great soundtrack. Maybe there was something like that in this movie. I remember when the credits started rolling, I was thinking, I don't remember any of the score. So I'm not saying it's bad or not there. I don't know. Let me know. Did I miss a score here? The sound, though, incredible. It's punchy. It is just so meaty. And goddamn it, it's some of the best sound you're possibly going to hear. The battle between this and Dune for the Oscar, it's going to go to Dune. But man, this should be considered. This is just an epic movie. It is an epic prequel. This is maybe the best prequel I think has ever been made because it completely enhances the viewing experience of Fury Road. It gives every aspect of that movie, the characters, the world, so much more depth that maybe that film was missing. This film makes Fury Road a better movie, if that's even possible. And that is the purpose of a prequel. A prequel is meant to serve the films that come after, while also telling a story that's able to stand on its own and be interesting enough to be relevant enough for audiences to come and see it. This film accomplishes both those things. It tells a story that the audience is easily able to grip onto with incredibly amazing characters that completely bleeds directly into the next film that is now 10 times better because of the existence of this one. It is amazing at its job at being a prequel. It's almost impossibly good. This film also is just, I keep using the word epic, and it reminded me of James Cameron's Avatar, and Avatar 2, and kind of that side of cinema, and Top Gun Maverick. There's like this weird new genre of cinema that's not even really a genre, so to say, but it's kind of like these filmmakers out there and these different artists that are making these big, gigantic movies that just push cinema to their limit, that push cinema as far as they could possibly go, and they make movies like, I would imagine if 50 years ago, if you went to people 50 years ago, if you went to Clint Eastwood 50 years ago and said, hey, what do you think Hollywood's gonna look like in 50 years? I think this movie, and like Avatar 2, and like Top Gun Maverick, is probably what they would imagine modern cinema looking like. That it's going to be the same type of practical, awesome, epic stories, but just done with so much, with better technology, better visuals, just the craziest shit ever. We're gonna push the limits so far and do the craziest things we could possibly imagine. That's what these films do, and they're so hard to make. This movie took 9 years to make. Avatar 2 took freaking, 15 years to make at this point? I mean, it's insane how long that film took. Top Gun Maverick, I don't even know how long that movie, I mean, it was like 50 years between films, but who knows? These films are hard to make, but they're so good when they're done right, and when you have the right people involved that are visionaries and that pour their heart into it. And George Miller is Mad Max. This is his world, his universe, and clearly this is a movie that could only be made by him. This is his legacy, and God, I cannot wait to see what he does when he eventually makes the follow-up to this, which is going to be another prequel with Mad Max. So we get This movie, a prequel of Furiosa, explaining how she gets to Fury Road, and now I'm assuming we're going to get a Mad Max prequel that tells you what happened right before he got to Fury Road. I'm sold either way. I don't care what it is. I'm just excited for more shit in this universe. I just hope it doesn't take 9 years. Maybe it will. Who knows? But yeah, Furiosa is an absolute masterpiece. I don't think it's as good as Fury Road. I don't know if this is a movie I'm going to be sitting here 10 years from now saying it's one of the greatest films that's ever been made, because I just think there's maybe a little bit too much more CGI than Fury Road, and I think this movie, a large part of it being great is the fact that Fury Road came before it, so that film is still going to be above this, but this is an astronomical, achievement of cinema. This is a piece of art, a piece of film work that is just unbelievable that it even exists. And I cannot stress enough that you should go see this movie, because we don't get a lot of movies like this. We just don't. We maybe get one a year, maybe one every 2 years. We do not get a lot of films like this. We've gotten Dune 2 this year. We got Avatar a couple years ago. If you want to put Oppenheimer in there, we don't get these grand, epic, cinematic experiences that often anymore. And this is a film that every single producer in Hollywood should watch and understand what the art form is, and we need this movie to make money, guys. But yeah, when the year ends and I'm talking about the best movies of the year, this will be at the top of the list. Will it be number 1, number 2, number 3? We'll see. You'll have to subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll find out by the end of the year. But please go see Furiosa, support this movie, support filmmakers like George Miller, and support Mad Max. We need more Mad Max. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked this video. Subscribe for more. Please turn on notifications. I will see you guys in the next one.